Right, so welcome back to the show. It's now time to look at the papers. And the Ghanaian Times newspaper says 63 perish in gory accident. Nagrat to serves notice of strike and 100 attend MP's 1 week ceremony. I'm sure the late Ibuako North MP ceremony. Also, the security agencies monitoring hotspot of violence. Now, the Daily Graphic has captured a similar story. It just simply says that Black Wednesday at Kintampo accident claims 61 lives. So we don't have a different, an exact figure yet. Different papers are reporting different figures. I'm sure officials will give us the right figure at some point. Horror, 71 perish in gory crash, and that's Daily Guy says horror. 71 perish in gory accidents. NDC is EC sweetheart, says the Alliance for Accountable Governance, AFAG. Hundreds more JBs, slain JB, and BNFT says checkpoints. Bribes block trade flow. Report says that checkpoints, bribes block trade flow. Today says Disaster Wednesday, coincidence or a pattern? Question they ask it, Disaster Wednesdays, coincidence or a pattern? I'm sure the connection is with the June 3 disaster where about 152 people lost their lives, the twin disaster, flood, and the explosion at Circle. Weekend Finder says water, major crisis ahead. Annual river flows to record 20% drop by 2020. The Telegraph said GBC staff give Director General ultimatum to exit. 4 remanded in custody for possessing deadly weapons. And my final paper is Herald says Akufo-Addo commits another ethnocentric error. Boast of making Nzima people NPP regional and national chairman as he begs for votes. That's a Herald newspaper, right? My guests are seated, so I'll introduce them. And on my right, I have a member of the New Patriotic Party, Richard Nyama. Richard Nyama, good morning to you. And thank you very much for joining us this morning, member of the communications team. And also from the NDC, an aspiring, member of parliament for Ablekuma Central. You're looking forward to replacing Tesechai. It's Haruna Halidu of the NDC. Haruna, good morning to you and welcome to the show. So, Richard, since you're here, I want to start with you have petitioned President Mahama to sack the EC boss. Why? What reasons? On what grounds?
Unfortunately, I can't give the grounds because that's contained in the petition. But if you remember, on the 6th of January, I put it out in the public domain that Madame Charlotte Osei was holding 2 public offices. That is
NCCE?
No, Director of Ghana Reinsurance.
Okay.
Whilst she was the chairman of the commission as well. And if you take Article 44, Clause 4, that is actually to do with her work, her mandate of the Constitution. It specifically says that she and her 2 deputies, whilst commissioners, can't hold any other public office. I, in my candid opinion, think that the Ghana Reinsurance is a public office, and she has no right whatsoever to hold the 2. I'm also aware that while she was...
And she hasn't left?
Oh,
is that the point you're trying to make?
It's not the point. It has been established that between July 31st and 31st of December, 6 clear months, when she was charged with the Electoral Commission Board, she was also Director of Ghana Reinsurance. I am insisting that she still is. She says she is not.
Okay.
But that is beside the point. While she was on the National Commission on Civic Education as a chair,
sure,
she was still holding on to Ghana Re some 2 years or more.
Okay. And
so there is enough over the years to show that she's breached the constitutional provisions regarding her office. And she is the equivalent of an appeals court judge. You have to be of high moral integrity. We shouldn't question your integrity.
Okay. Richard.
So, based on this and the evidence I have, I think that is within my right to activate Article 146 for her removal, and so I have taken the necessary steps.
Okay, Richard, you said two things. One, you said that's besides the point. After you said you made you laid the preamble that she held a position in the Ghana reinsurance and EC board, and said that's beside the point. And then you come to reinsurance and being the EC board. So if you say it's beside the points, but that isn't that a basis for which you are petitioning? Unless of course there are other things she's done that you believe it breaches her conditions of service as being the EC boss.
I'm saying that she has misbehaved as a public officer.
So that is why you want her removed?
Yes, and the law does not say that because you have stopped doing that act or you've stopped misbehaving, then you are not in breach. I'm chronicling events that show that she has been in breach of the law for years. Okay, at National Commission on Civic Education and at the EC, and I've given you the specific law, and it regards the EC. Article 44 clause 4 says that the EC chair and her deputies, whilst in office, cannot hold any other public office. And I have, in my candid opinion, yes, the reinsurance is 100% government-owned public institution. She is not.
And you're saying the evidence you have gathered suggests that she breached it?
Yes.
Okay, and that's enough grounds to have her removed?
Yes, that is stated misbehavior.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yes, Richard is not the first time Richard has petitioned the president. I mean, the first one he did, he wasn't the only person who was angered by the former commissioner of Shraj. Indeed, a lot of people commended him for that, and we saw what happened at the end. She's out of office for that. But with this, when it came out, I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, really?" What did you think when you heard that he's petitioned the president?
Well, I think that first of all, it is important to states that it is within the right of every citizen of our country to ensure that every public officer behave in the manner that is in accordance with our laws. And if in the wisdom of Richard thinks that the EC boss has misbehaved and he decided to invoke an article in the Constitution to petition the president, I will not actually condemn him. He is only doing what the citizen of a country is expected to do. However, I do not think that this time around he would be okay with his petition as he succeeded in the case of the Shraj boss. Yes. Because it's important that when you are talking about the laws of our country, you look at the letter and the spirit of the article that he wanted to talk about. Now, when you take Article 44 that he made reference to, 44.4, it talks about, yes, the commissioner and then the two deputies should not actually hold any public office as they are engaged as commissioners of the EC. But it's important to then go further to find out what a public office is, because the definition has actually been given. When you come to, you refer to Article 295. It says, and I quote with your permission, public office includes services in any civil office of government, emolument attached to which are paid directly from the consolidated funds or directly out of monies provided by Parliament. Now, if you come back to Section 14 of the Public Office Holders Declaration of Asset and Disqualification Act 1998, Act 550 also provide additional definition of what is meant by public office. It says, and I quote, public office includes an office, the emolument attached to which are paid directly from the consolidated fund.
Your point.
So my point is that, indeed, if you look at the position she held before under the reinsurance, it's a board membership, of which even the reinsurance company actually indicated that she exited somewhere last year. Now, it does not actually qualify, being a board member does not qualify you as a serving in the public office. You understand? Because there's allowances that you are being paid for. It's not actually drawing from the consolidated fund. So I think that, well, this is a legal argument, and I'm sure His Excellency the President will be referring his petition to the Chief Justice. And if prima facie case is established, certainly he will be given an opportunity to go and actually explain. And the Commissioner of EC would also do that. But you see, my difficulty here is that there is a conscious effort by individuals within the New Patriotic Party to discredit the EC. And ever since this woman was appointed, she has never seen peace. And I don't know. You see, we don't win elections in this country by way of actually who is in charge of electoral commission. We win election at the polling stations. What is expected of them to do at the various polling stations is to make sure that they train people who are qualified, who can actually be able to defend their interests, not somebody sitting at the top. But the effort to discredit the EC is quite unfortunate, and I do not think that they're helping the development of our country.
Okay. But Richard, why are you struggling to make public the details of the petition?
Struggling?
Yeah, you said you won't make it public. You just said it yourself.
Yes, I wouldn't, because I've referred it to the appropriate institution and body to deal with. So
but it's been discussed in the public
why
domain.
should I put my facts out there so that I will alert people to start punching me and discrediting, and I'm not going to give out my strategy.
Okay, but is
Bridget,
it a fair?
Bridget,
is it a fair thing to the EC boss that today we're discussing here, right? And we are discussing it based on half, not even half, just the preamble that you laid. That you've petitioned.
Oh, so she's at liberty to respond if she wants. Point is that I have submitted a petition for her removal. Okay, and if she actually asked for it, I remember when she went on Samson's program.
When she asked for it, how?
She went on Samson's program and said that if I have any evidence, I should take it to the appropriate body. Okay. And I'm saying that I have the evidence. I've given it to the appropriate body. The appropriate body will refer it to her, and she would respond, and then we'll take it from there. But I'm not going to put my information out there. But to my brother, the question I would ask you of you is this: can you sincerely tell me that an appeals court judge is allowed to be a director of Ghana Re? If you are able to answer yes.
She's a board member, not a director.
All right.
What do you understand?
She was a board member.
We'll leave it here.
Okay, so the question is that is an appeals court judge allowed to be on the board of Ghana Re? It's a simple question. Anyone who wants to have any banter with me, if you answer yes, then I think Madam Charlotte Osei has every right to be there.
All right.
Yes, the definition of what a public
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will not go any further because Richard will not make public details of it, and he's only laid the preamble for us. With Madame Loretta Lamte's case, I mean, we all knew what it was. Details of it was made public even before. I mean, he petitioned the president. We knew why he had petitioned the president, and indeed, she was removed from office, and some were even calling for prosecution of Loretta Lamte. Now to, Wednesday it didn't happen. Black Wednesday, as captured by Daily Graphic here, says at Kintampo accident claims 61 lives. We'll come back to the EC being in bed with the NDC as alleged by AFAC, but I'm interested in what happened, and on Wednesday night. When you heard about the Kintampo accident, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
I went cold. I was confused. I had pictures and other things coming through my platform to me that this had just happened. And sure. As at then, about some 50 people were being declared dead, and I just couldn't believe it. But you see, the spot that accident happened, it's a place I know very, very well, too well. Especially if you're descending, if you're coming from Kintampo towards Tamale, sure. It's descending. And so if you are on top speed, the likelihood is that you lose control because it's a very sharp bended curve. The Kintampo Falls is onto the right side of that same path. And so you're actually going to use a lot of force if you are on top speed to be able to negotiate that curve and negotiate it well. Then my question was like, why these numbers? Okay, and then I started thinking through a lot of things. I would account for it. One, our highways are unlit. Okay, even in the cities, you take Tema Motorway, I think about 90% of the street lights that we costed some 10 or 15 million euros to put. If you go, all the poles are on the ground, bent. So this is the heart of Accra. If you take Accra to Kumasi, there's no one single street light. So it worsens the situation for drivers.
Okay.
Most especially when you have drivers coming with high lights on. So it blinds each other. But then the information coming out of the scene and then the accident is chilling.
What information have you picked up?
That the vehicle broke down 3 times.
Okay, we heard like it's not cows or animals.
No,
that's what we heard.
No, the vehicle had brake failure. And so they stopped 3 times to fix it. They had a mechanic who came and tried and couldn't do it.
Okay.
And then the driver insisted they go. And my question was, why on any day, once the vehicle breaks down and it's not fixed, I would not get back onto that vehicle.
Okay, but you know, this is a case where they could have I mean, at the time they could have also been attacked by robbers, and we've seen, you know, you could have highway robbers around that time. Quite apart from that, people are naturally sort of susceptible to these things. They see it as normal. So what do you think should happen after this? Because yes, we'll cry, we would mourn, we would declare days of national mourning, we would do all of that, and then we'll still come back recording them.
We as a people would have to begin to conscientize ourselves.
Sure.
Because do not sit in a vehicle that is damaged or you have a problem with, or the driver is over speeding. For the driver to even tell you that I'm in a hurry to go and bring the next group of passengers, should tell you the guy has not he hasn't got you at heart. And so look, the numbers, 80-something people sitting in a vehicle, and you could not tell one person stop and let's get down or let's park, because in Kintampo is not. It is in the town.
Sure.
This accident happened in town. So the issue of armed robbers and all those things will not apply here. If they were somewhere in the middle of the bush, then you say probably they are afraid. But you were just exiting Kintampo. And then the speed at which you were traveling, my point is that the passengers should have asked the driver to stop, go and sleep in Kintampo and find a way to go.
Okay.
But moving forward, I think we need the Metro Mass to come and explain.
Sure.
Give us their protocol, what is done about these things, because I know that in the case of XTC, if you go in and you develop such a problem, you park by the roadside or a safe area, and then they will get a vehicle, another one, to come and then transport you and continue the journey. Why was this man left to his own devices to want to repair this vehicle and continue the journey? Because there's no guarantee that a roadside mechanic can fix the vehicle and fix it well and take you safely to where you're going.
Okay. Quick one. What are the things that you are interested in, you know, before, you know, with investigations, stakeholders, you know, you talk about National Road Safety Commission, the police, the investigators, and the MMT themselves, who are like key stakeholders in this?
Well, I think that first of all is, let me extend condolence to those who lost their loved ones in this glory accident. Indeed, it is quite unfortunate that we experienced such a horrific accident. For me, when I heard of this, it occurred to me that are we not also hearing a story similar to Amina Yutombas?
Sure.
Until I read the tweet from His Excellency the President, actually acknowledging that an incident of this nature had occurred around the area, and then he extended condolences to the family who lost their loved ones. And you see, we have a fundamental challenge as a country. And the first law of life is self-preservation. You must make sure you protect yourself, preserve yourself first before you think about others. The question I asked simply when I confirmed that this incident occurred was that what happened to the driver? Was he actually interested in preserving himself?
His life.
His life.
Good question.
Because
Good
at
point.
least it is a critical thing when you will always be able to be cautious in respect of what you do. Now, if he is not even interested in preserving his life, what of the others who bought the buses? I was told that one of the metro masts broke down, and then this particular one had to stop and pick the passengers on board the other one that broke down, and then he was forcing. But those who were in the bus, why did they accept overloading? Because yesterday I was trying to find out the total number of passengers that the metro
even metro masts themselves were shocked at the numbers that were coming out, because it was beyond, I think, either 10, 15
and
people
usually
beyond the
what
number
happened
that
quite
they
recently, I traveled by the public transport. I used this some of these buses, and in the bus you have seat belts on the seat. But what actually I found very strange is that nobody was interested in even drawing the attention of the passengers to actually wear the seat belt. Unlike in a flight, you have people.
You have no choice, because they think they will die. I think people naturally think that it's more dangerous being in the air. So whatever safety precautions are there.
So I think that those who are operating this transport business must actually endeavor to have their conductors to ensure that when they are moving the long distance, they will ensure that whoever is on board the bus actually fastens his seatbelt.
So now, do you support the implementation of seatbelts on all vehicles?
I am just driving at that point. And the question yesterday I was asking was that did we actually fix seatbelts on those metro mass buses, being actually in charge of the policy? We wanted to implement the policies. We had difficulties with resistance and understanding and appreciation of this.
Last year,
at least we should have been able to do it on those government vehicles, so that at least it serves as an example to the commercial ones. The difficulty I have in this country is that sometimes when we are bringing in something to even protect life and property, you have resistance. But you say leadership is about believing in what you are doing and ensuring that you do it because you know it will actually impact positively in the life of the people. At the time that you are bringing any idea which is new, the people might not know. Okay. They won't also appreciate the benefit of it. Okay. But enforcing and making sure that you implement it, and the long time effect of it would actually exonerate your point. So I think that we should revisit the implementation of this seatbelt in all commercial vehicles. Okay, all right.
You have the quick point on that about, resistance to seatbelts. The allegations, I mean, the drivers claim that, the DVLA set up the seatbelt centers because they want to make money, because they want to enhance somebody's private business. 1, 2. You have passengers say, well, if I'm traveling from just my house to Circle, why should I be in a seatbelt? Should that even be excused? Should we even tolerate that? Why don't we just push through with it and enforce it, regardless of what these people say?
Bridget, it's a leadership failure thing. Point is that you've got a very fine policy. You talk nicely about it. Then 2-3 people make allegations and then resist, and then you pull the policy back. For me, it's neither here nor there. I heard the president said he was not elected to take popular decisions, but hard, difficult decisions. And for me, these are the difficult decisions. You take it to preserve the person's life. That, you like it or not, is a crime. And there's a law in this country that now says that if you are not wearing a seatbelt, you are culpable for ABCD and you are fined this number of penalty points, blah, 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 blah. Let's enforce it. We have all the fine laws in this country. We do not enforce them. You see? And so, he himself has admitted, as a government, they brought the policy. He's surprised that at least those that are government vehicles, transport systems, would have been the first point of call. If the Trotros and the others are refusing, Metro Mass and all the other major transport organizations, why don't you get them start, and then you trickle it down to the taxis? And look, we need to even phase out these Trotros. you look at it, their design and the purpose are not for carrying human beings. We have left it to rot and get to this far.
And in place of that, so is it transport? Because I mean, these are drivers; they depend on it for their livelihoods. Yes, but it's not to say that it is right for them to go out there and kill persons. Absolutely not. So
instead of the government being the one importing the buses, okay, I think that we should get them into corporate unions. The government can assist them get these buses in place of their rickety ones, probably over 5 years. Then you don't have to own one big bus yourself. You can have 2-3 people, and then over 5 years, 10 years, they would have paid for it. Then we'll have an effective transport system in the country. Okay. But you see, it also boils down to our priorities. Okay, you have what do you call it? A bus that has its brakes damaged, and as a result, we lose. Now I'm seeing 71 people.
71, 63.
Yes. So what is our value on life?
Okay.
And yet we don't have money to fix a brake, and yet we can give 3.6 million Ghana cedis for somebody to put the president's picture on it in the name of branding. How is that
the president's problem? If MMT, they have their management?
MMT have their management. Who is bringing in the buses? Who gives it to them to run?
So then they should fire the people at MMT?
So that is the whole point. That was a ministerial decision. They do not have money to put brakes on the buses. And yet you give money out that those buses should be branded with the president's picture. What kind of a country is this?
Okay, but Richard, it's not been established. It's not a fact that there was a brake problem. It has not been. Investigators have not established it. What you're saying
these are hearsay. No, it's not hearsay. These are witnesses.
Who? Which of the witnesses?
Those who were on the bus. You have people who have spoken.
No, but I heard the injured. They never mentioned that.
They have. They have. It is the same people who are saying that he was in a hurry to take them to their death. He thought he was going to come back.
That's a different point.
Yes, no, but there have been different people who have been spoken to, who have given their versions. The thing broke down. How did we know it broke down 3 times? It was from the passengers on board who have survived.
So we'll wait for investigators to confirm whether it was a brake failure, it was a problem with the vehicle.
So if you come back and you are crying crocodile tears.
Richard, I'm on the floor, please. Thank you very much. All right. Fortunately, it actually defeats the work that the Road Safety Commission have done, because mind you, 2015 actually road accidents went down by about 17%. Even the vehicles that were involved, all of them reduced. I remember we have a decade of road action between 2010 and 2020 where we're supposed to reduce road accident by 50%. Well, will this defeat that purpose? You can share your thoughts with us via our social media platforms as well. Now, the Daily Guide has a story, and it says the NDC is EC sweetheart, says AFAG, the Alliance for Accountable Governance. And the story talks about, how the concerns about the credibility of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, and it says even though a member of the said committee, the steering committee, Dr. Karl Mark Ahin, a deputy director of elections of the NDC who doubles the executive secretary of NSS, has been compelled by circumstances to resign his membership of the committee. Pressure Group Alliance for Accountable Governance believe the EC is still not worthy to be trusted. I want to start from you, Haruna Halidu. When comments like this come, I mean, it's coming from a pressure group, pro-NPP pressure group, AFAG, and they're talking about, they've mentioned, they've cited the fact that, Karl Mark was on the board, and that obviously dented and all of that. NDC in bed with EC, is that a conversation we should be having now, given that, we have just a few months to election? And what does the EC itself need to do to win back the trust of the people?
I don't think that it is the people of Ghana who are discrediting the EC. A political party with parochial interest is doing that. And so you cannot say people of Ghana. And we have not done any checks to be able to find out whether indeed we still have majority of the citizens of this country having interest in terms of the credibility of EC. So we cannot be able to say that. But what we can emphatically confirm is that the NPP is desperate in running down the credibility of the EC. But you see, this accusation certainly is coming from the people who are much more, if I should say, they have missed their way. They don't know what to do in terms of how to even handle their own political affairs. So they thought that in their wisdom, the only way out to rescue their failure is to attack the EC's credibility.
No, but Halid, even before even that, there were problems that came out when we went to court petition and we watched it on television, and Ghanaians and the Electoral Commission admitted that yes, there were challenges. So
can we confirm or can we say that in human institutions you will never be able to have some fault or you can have perfection in human institutions? That certainly cannot happen. Okay. There is no institutions on earth today that is run by human beings that can actually be able to do things perfectly. Certainly there will be some errors here and there. What was the verdict given by the court? The verdict was actually in favor of the EC. If the court had actually given a verdict in favor of the MPP, then we can be able to confirm that the EC actually hasn't done a good job. But you see, the New Patriotic Party will have to look within themselves and address some challenges confronting them and leave the EC to do their work.
So you're saying that there's no problem with the way the EC looks at this moment?
What is the problem?
Okay.
I have not seen any problem.
Okay.
An appointment, there was a vacancy, His Excellency appointed a very credible person to be there. They started even pasting the pictures of Mrs. Charlotte Osei, the posters, and then branding it as an NDC, etc. It is very malicious, very wicked. The woman hasn't contested any position in NDC before, but this is an attempt to actually cow her down. But I'm happy that this is a woman who you cannot cow down. She is very courageous. She understands what has been given to her as a mandate, and she has espoused that on radio. I listened to her. She is on top of her work, and indeed, the MPP things are frustrating her. She would actually give in. She would do what is right and what is fair. Okay. Any political party that fails to do what is expected of it, of what is expected of it, then it is up to them to manage their own affairs.
Richard, I remember when the EC boss was appointed, I had a lot of people say, initially people were like, and then they saw her CV and said, okay, well, she's good. And I had Gifty Auntie said this, oh, as for this one, then I'm quoting her, President John Mahama has done very, very well. But then there seem to be, issues coming up from the MPP. I must say that. Please, I'm talking. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. That there's an attempt to make her look bad. What is the problem you have with our current EC boss? What is the problem you have with her?
Bridget, I'm sure you also have problems with her.
I know. I don't actually. No, I don't have any problem with her.
Every Ghanaian should be worried that you have a referee that seems to be playing as a number 12 for one of the teams. Now,
I think you should explain.
You set up a committee to look into whether we should have a register or shouldn't have a register. You know what happens? One of the teams made a complaint that as part of our electoral reforms per the Supreme Court, we think that the register with which we went to the election is compromised. All the parties agree that is the case. The NDC's General Mosquito said yes. It is the way we should go about it that is the problem. Now, one of the teams gives you evidence and put the issues before you that I think these are the issues we should address. Okay? Yeah. It's like me bringing a petition to you, the president. Then the president tells Charlotte Osei, Richard has brought a petition against you. Also go and bring your petition. Okay, before I'll look at it. So then you call NDC, go and bring your petition. Richard has brought your petition.
You're talking about the forum that was held at the voters'
register. That is exactly what happened. Because the NDC have their opinion. We then went and then sat down as a country and examined the opinions and views of the MPP as they brought and said that we don't like it. And so let's take what the NDC has said. Meanwhile, you have not given us...
Richard, let me correct you. No, but that was not what happened, please, Richard.
Hold on.
Richard, that wasn't what happened.
What happened?
That was not what happened.
What happened?
You said they took the NDC's view. There were other parties that were all...
Which parties? The parties that she's saying that are moribund and that she's going to scrap them. Now, all of a sudden, you realize that all those parties have been non-existent, and so you scrap them from the Electoral Commission's books.
I did spoke to the minister. They asked for a new register.
Mofe's party that does not exist on your books was given an opportunity. Kwadonko, who is I don't know whatever to the president, came and spoke. Everybody whose party is actually non-existent on the ground was given the opportunity to come and paint the MPP position black. Mine was that, no, hold on. You look at the facts the people have given you and rule on it. Based on your ruling, then you say that ABCD will do not accept it. But to then call everybody to the table and say, bring your petition against this person, was just trying to play to the gallery. Now, fast track it. You have come out that you are going to... Listen, there are some dangerous trends that are playing out. We are having... a re-registration exercise of some sort.
Limited
re-registration. Do you know how long it's taking? It's for a duration of 6 months. When in this country have we opened up for 6 months that we should be registering? When does it stop and when do we go to elections? These are people should be questioning. Don't say that it's because MPP is raising the issue and they are part of it. We will not listen to it. Come back to this issue that is currently there. You come out with an 18-member committee, and your point is that this committee is to help you steer the elections. Meanwhile, you go to every region, the Electoral Commission has already got a system in place that is supposed to oversee this. You have an party advisory committee that you work with. You are saying that you are in charge. You take your decisions. When the MPP bring their petition, then everybody will have to come and take part of the decision. But when it is your decision, or it has to do with your work, or it is me alone, so I have formed the committee. The law allows me to do that. So I will not consult the parties. Are you seeing the inconsistencies? When the MPP brings a petition, the petition then has to have everybody come and take part of it.
Richard, those you will not
use. You would not take.
Richard, you've said a lot. Yes. I want to. May I please? Thank you very much. That you've made the point, but even with the issue about the petition, there were parties that were asked to talk, but then the EC took your petition and answered why somebody registered here and the person they explained so people could understand, when you came out and said 76,000 people were registered, right, in the register bloated, people were alarmed, people were worried, they wanted to, how did this happen? And all of that. So if they took time to explain so the Ghanaians will watch and understand, don't you think it helped everybody to have a better appreciation of what the EC does?
Not at all, Bridget. I'm saying I just gave you a clear example. I have taken a petition to the president. The president pushed my petition down and said, Charlotte, say, bring your petition in response to that. Then we will act on it. Point is that the EC says it has the mandate to do what it's doing. We have brought you the evidence. Put your committee or your group together. Do a technical evaluation and analysis of it.
That's the reason why you doubt.
No, and I'm giving you some further information. This has come. I'm saying that they are doing a limited registration over 6 months. That is beside the point. Come, you have formed a committee, 18-member committee, and their membership are under question. Okay, now.
There were 18 people on it. You've asked questions about 3 of them.
Yes. Oh,
so
yeah.
15,
the accounts
whatever it is. So 15.
The accounts will say,
Richard, whatever it is, if 3 and you have 15, you don't trust.
The others, I'm saying that with time we would profile them and we will show you the evidence. Please. What
would it take the EC? What do you expect the EC to make the NPP happy?
What is the point of this committee? What is the point of this committee that the regional and the district committees or EC working groups cannot do? What is it that this group?
What was the point of having a strong? What was the point of having all of you in the strong room?
So she says she's disbanding the strong room.
We'll have it in giant screen.
So what is this committee going to do? What is the point of this committee?
All right,
now the NDC comes and accepts that this gentleman is an NDC person. But you know what? The EC says that no, we don't care. We wrote to the various institutions, asked them to give us a person each. And the the National Service Secretariat sent this person. I had Dr. Kwesa White
allude to that fact.
Sure.
Now, Dr. Pesa White, knowing very well that this gentleman is a member of the NDC, just as Pesa White is, why did he send him to the to that committee?
So you still fall to the EC for not doing what
no,
due diligence?
beyond that, go to the Peace Council. No,
I've seen the Peace Council story.
The Peace Council says that,
hold
on, you haven't given us any letter requesting us to appoint anybody to it. So we have no hands in this. So where is the truth? Did the EC do this in consultation with those groups?
Okay, all right.
Where are the letters to those people?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Mr.
I don't know where my brother is getting the information that the EC is reopening the limited registration for a period of 6 months. I don't know that. I don't know where he's getting that information, because the timetable the EC actually gave out,
supposed to come March
18th to 27th. That's the limited registration, because I'm a contestant. I'm contesting an election, so I know that. And now they are now contemplating actually pushing it forward from maybe they will start somewhere in April instead of the 18th to 27th. But it's not to a period of 6 months. So
it's been ongoing.
That statement. It's
been going on.
That statement.
It's been going on. They go to one region, they go to one district, and go and do this. No, I am telling you, it's going on.
Of this country. It's not
fair.
fair.
In the Western,
it's not fair to the institutions. Now, you see, Richard,
he's trying very hard to discredit.
I find it so difficult that you cannot actually be able to do what is right and just. You have sent a petition to an institution of state, expecting the institution to take the matter up. The institution say, okay, because of the weight of the allegations you have made, it's important that we give the citizens of this country the opportunity to see whether indeed what you have put out.
Halidu, I'm sorry, but I have to come in here because he's already said, and I think we've dealt with. So let's move
forward. But the way he put it, it's as if the EC is doing it to deliberately to favor a certain.
It's clear.
Whether if they like, let's agree. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo should be appointed as the EC boss, and let Bawumia be the assistant. Then this will beat them, because you don't win election at the top there. The EC boss cannot do anything. When I have my records at the polling station, as I sit here as a candidate of the NDC in Ablekuma Central, I can tell you, I know each polling station, the number of registered voters. Each polling station. I have the total number of registered voters in each electoral area. It tells you that I'm serious and I'm into the election to win.
Is not serious about
Call them. You put them to straight proof. Call Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Let him come and sit on this platform. Ask him to tell you the total number of registered voters in Ablekuma Central. He won't tell you. He doesn't know. You cannot be serious.
You're a candidate, so it's understandable.
He's also a candidate.
No, it's understandable.
He's also a candidate. I'm making reference to him as a candidate contesting the presidential election. You should be interested in, because it is your interest. Whoever is around you doing your bidding will do it on your behalf, but you must be interested, because whatever information that comes before you, you should be able to verify and confirm by facts.
Yeah, but such misstep, I mean, like Pesa White, he contested, he even stood in your primaries as the boss of NSS. He stood in your primaries, he lost. I think it was about 42 or 52 votes thereabout. He lost. And then Electoral Commission writes to you and says, give us somebody from NSS as an institution. Give us someone who is not colored. Let's say they didn't even put in somebody who is not colored, but Pesa White could have done better. Unless, of course, he's saying he didn't know the gentleman stood for Amenfi Central.
I agree with you. And I think that this is a mistake, an avoidable mistake.
So he cannot be taken out of
it. It is an avoidable mistake. I thought that, indeed, this could have been avoided. Because certainly, a steering committee, and you are nominating somebody to go and represent the interests of the institution that he served. At least, a little due diligence would have actually even let us be having our peace. Okay. This single individual out of 18 members, you see how the MPP is trying to use that to discredit. We could have avoided it, but however, are we saying that we do not have people who are colored, but they will stand for the truth?
Okay.
Are we saying that we will not have that people who have an integrity? Is he saying today that the former Attorney General, Martin Amidu, who has been attacking government, speaking against government, if Martin Amidu If Martin Amidu should be a member of the committee, would he be comfortable? Would he say that because Martin Amidu is an NDC man, so therefore he doesn't have that integrity to be able to serve? I mean, sometimes let's give people the benefit of doubt. There are people, look, let me tell you, this country, we are gradually destroying the beauty.
Because of the politics, the way you're using politics.
Needless partisanship, needless. There are people who have gone beyond partisan positions, and they can serve the interests of this country without allowing partisan consideration. There are people, I just admit, I'm an NDC man. I could have justified this, but I think that certainly. But the point is, we are so divided, and we think that once somebody is an NDC man, whatever he does must kneel to the benefit of the NDC. We have NDC people who will stand to speak their minds when something is wrong. Haven't we heard tornado in this country? Tornado in this country. Tornado at the beginning of this government, when this government was actually inaugurated. For the 6 months period, tornado has been on the neck of this government. So we have people with integrity within government that will speak when things are not right. So don't look, if the MPP people believe that within them they do not have people who can be able to stand and speak the truth. We have, and we have many more of them. So the fact that probably somebody is nominated to serve in a steering committee with the EC does not necessarily mean that the person will go and have influence and compromise the positions of the EC.
Bridget,
Richard, yes. I want to say if anything will make you
you
happy.
know what even makes this whole national service angle very dangerous?
No.
The Electoral Commission has put it on record that they are going to use national service personnel to do this exercise in 2016.
They said they were going to use
it is the national
accountants, professionals,
other
people. They were inviting people, all in the hope of satisfying all parties.
Hold on. They in 2012, between 1992 and 2008, we usually used the teachers as the returning officers. What do we call it? The other, there's this temporary position they employ them to do. And most of them were teachers, if not all of them. In 2012, they decided they wouldn't do it. And we saw the chaos of it at the end of the day. Is it, what is it, 200 what was that figure Baumia gave in court?
Which one?
The 200 and is it 007 or when they did the coalition, they had to now justify it by adding zeros and then all those things. It all came down to that point. But the point I'm making is this: the Dr. Ahin guy is the one in charge of the National Service Directorate of the students who are on the service scheme.
So you are saying
now,
that
no, hold on.
So
the point is that there is a deliberate policy. This gentleman was brought in there to recruit NDC 10 students. I am telling you. And so, look, what will satisfy us is that, number one, scrap this whole steering committee because it's now tainted. Even the Peace Council, that wants peace in this country, says that we don't want to be part of it. The NDC has admitted that, and if you heard George Lawson, that we are not sure, we didn't know, and we were not consulted. Go and sit with the inter-party group and let them also have an opinion, because in fact, they are the major stakeholders. All Ghanaians, one way or the other, are represented in these parties. Have their opinion, and then scrap that committee. Work with the structures you already have, because nobody is complaining about that. This whole issue about national service personnel also being used,
but
we are strongly against it.
You wouldn't have presented a petition.
No.
Because you had a representative on IPAC, is it Mr. Peter McMahon, right?
I'm saying that IPAC was not consulted. They have no idea whatsoever about this.
No, you just made a statement that what they have is working. So why,
yes, the steering committee, the inter-party advisory committee,
yes,
is working. You talk with them, you and them have an idea and a way that you have been working all these years. You are now bringing representatives from institutions.
Just political parties, Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC.
Yes.
It's political parties.
Oh, you've forgotten.
Chairs are there.
Have you forgotten that the roadmap to where we are going in this election, the Electoral Commission put up a committee and then they formed it and put it out there. But now we are having a group of people who are coming to run the elections for us and we don't know their mandate. Where are they coming from? Under what law is the chairman of the Electoral Commission doing this? And so we are saying that scrap it. If you have to form another committee, at least seek the advice of your stakeholders. And then this whole idea of national service persons, we do not think is a very good idea. It's a recipe for disaster. Go back and use the teachers. They have done it over the years and done it well.
All right, thank you very much.
But I think that it's important to make this point.
15 seconds.
The Ghana Education
seconds.
Service, when the EC refused, when the EC was not able to use the the teachers, it was Ghana Education Service that actually refused to hand over or allow the teachers to participate. It wasn't EC that refused to use them. It was Ghana Education Service. There was a statement. Rachel. Now, the point must also be made clear that this steering committee, the essence of it is that, according to the EC, they have had difficulties in respect of knowing exactly what happens in various institutions that need to support them in their works. And now, you have situations where in the past they had to even suspend their registration as a result of certain miscommunication with a certain institution. So the issue is that they have to get a representation. They have to get a representation from those institutions so that as they draw their own program.
If you are making that statement, then we'll have to every institution has to be represented.
Yeah,
I mean,
who is representing the media over there?
The police. It's very critical.
Absolutely, but we already have election security task force.
The Ministry of Education.
The police cannot be represented because we already have the election security task force, which is which comprises security agents.
Yes.
I mean, you have
this committee, according to will assist them with information from the various angles, so that at least it will help them to be able to draw their programs.
All right, thank you very much. But it's Friday, so I want to end with this one. Drama as MPs 1 week right. Constituents break eggs, pour libation to invoke curses on killers. The Member of Parliament, more than a week ago, last week's Tuesday, he was murdered, and the main suspect went before the courts. He's supposed to go back in March. Now, the 1 week, I mean, a lot of people, hundreds of people turned up, and we understand that, some people decided to invoke curses. First of all, do you believe in those supernatural curses? Do you believe in those?
I'm not that type. It's just an exercise of futility, but that is their belief, so I can't fault them for that. But it's a sad day, and I just pray we would get to the bottom of this, because the stories the main culprit is telling, there are about 4 or 5 different stories. It's beginning to confuse me.
Okay, all right then, quick one.
Well, I think that is.
Should they use the traditional authorities and stuff to see?
Well, that is the belief that they have, and culture and tradition is part of us. So certainly, once they believe in that and they are doing it,
isn't that why Obi name is powerful? Because we believe in things like this.
And the gentleman's story seems to be contradictory, and
you mean the suspect?
The suspect,
okay.
And the investigation should go further, because honestly speaking, there's more to it.
So I found a bigger story in there. I'm not going to go. No. I found a bigger story in the Daily Graphic. Stop monopolizing or hijacking business. Otable. It's actually to Otable, and it says, the story goes on and says the state. I'm quoting him. The state should get out of hospitals. The state should get out of the schools. The state should get out because they mess up everything they get involved in, and get individuals to run the place. Currently, can we do that?
I think we should be able to do it. He's not the first person to say this. I remember Honorable J.H. Mensah, I think somewhere in 1996-97, put it out that it's not the business of government to be in business. And it's so apt. You know what?
our government is too expanded, and that is why we are so ineffective and inefficient. If we just limited and had a small government, lean government, that ensured that things were done, just supervising the security agencies, the law agencies, to ensure the law is implemented. Play an equal for you are a referee. Ensure things are distributed well. Seriously, this country will go forward. If you take the...
But that means the constitution has to change, because constitution wills, a lot of powers to the president. That's why they appoint even heads of certain key institutions.
Obviously, the constitution has made a monster out of our presidency. Too much powers for one person. Sure. And unfortunately, it is not helping. But you see, when the state goes into business, it creates the opportunity for fleas, for theft, for TV, for corruption. And every day we come and sit down here and we are counting our losses in terms of corruption and all that. If an individual is running it, the person is running for profit. And so I don't see an individual stealing from himself. If you do that, you are collapsing your own business and you will not be in business. But people working for government, and I'm telling you, every government institution, you go to the ministries, the directorates, the municipal assemblies, every single person there thinks that it is an opportunity to fleece the state and live big. And so their interest is not pursuing the interest of the state. But they may have some mandate or work that they will have to do on a day-to-day basis. But the majority of them are finding crookish ways of making money out of this country.
How about those who say we have a lot of vulnerables? I mean, people who are like on the, what is it called, lifeline, and so there has to be some sort of, interventions here and there. That's why we have, subsidies to cater for those people.
That is
because if you give it to the individual is looking at profits and doesn't care. If it's electricity, I price it. If it's, 50 cedis per kilowatt hour, that's what I'm charging.
Bridget, excellent. You are making my point for me. So if we have a very lean government, the government can then focus on the vulnerable groups and ensure that they are dealt with, and then they actually enjoy it. Let me give you an example. Look, in all these capitalist states that we are talking about, in the US, in the UK, everywhere, they have a social protection system where people, pregnant women are
vulnerable.
Yes, they are vulnerable. The kids, you are even paid for having children. Okay, kids up to secondary school are not paying anything. Okay. So all these things is because the state is not spending its money doing business. So it has enough to cater for the vulnerable people who are not.
It's all right. Quick one about the comment by Mensah Otabil that when you leave it to the state, they mess everything up.
It's quite disappointing that this comment is coming from him, and it explains why the poor cannot attend his own university, because if you don't have fat bank account, you cannot go to his university, and that should even tells you that indeed when individuals it's being run, but poor people also have that responsibility to get education. So when they don't have fat bank account, they cannot attend. So that is why the state, that is why there's a need for the state to come to the aid of the poor. It's a private, so he should run his private, but the state must also provide that platform for the poor, the vulnerable, to enable them to be able to have education.
But
you cannot tell me that
if you see scandals where this, for instance, bus rebranding that we keep going to, that the state just doles out money without doing due diligence. If you see those things, your heart breaks.
So
then you look at where they
justify for him to propose that. He should actually ask. You see, he's a pastor, a man of God. He has a responsibility of shaping the opinions of people when he talks.
And he says it's anointing when these things keep happening.
So is that the solution? So Jesus Christ.
So let's clean the system. So let's clean the system.
So cleaning the system does not necessarily mean that you tell the citizens of this country to vote. It does not. Cleaning the system does not mean that you incite the citizens against government. That don't be satisfied. He said don't be satisfied with the roads and the electricity.
Exactly.
So without roads and electricity, can you imagine how life would have been?
And he wasn't
without
elected a
roads,
citizen.
without electricity,
But he
can
did
he
say,
run his
but he
university?
did say that
Actually said
he's
it's an
not saying that
exercise in
take his hold on,
mediocrity.
please.
No, but you see,
Please,
sometimes there are
Richard,
certain
you're not
comments.
But he said that, but you don't take it from one party and give it to the other. But saying he's talking about the Ghanaian being conscious and aware that those things aren't privileges. They are things they're supposed to have.
So the same Ghanaians,
So don't jump.
the some Ghanaians is admonition to be conscious of those things. Are the same Ghanaians you should be telling them that when you have an opportunity to serve in the state institution, be responsible and patriotic. He should be admonishing them so. He's facing as his church. He should tell them that you own it as a duty as a citizen of this country to be truthful and honest when you are serving under the government institution.
He said the same thing.
But you cannot incite the citizen of this country against government. And I think that you see what the pastor has done. What Mr. Pastor Ottawa has done. What he has done.
You said that.
He has just put himself in a political block, because it's like he's accepting that he believes in the capitalists other than the socialist or the democratic social democratic party. Now,
but
when we are going,
says when you're a socialist and then you keep introducing taxes onto people.
no, but the capitalists themselves, when they came to power, what happened? Haven't they introduced the socialist?
All right, thank you very much. Richard Dama is a member of the New Patriotic Party. Please, Richard.
So have I insulted any man of God here?
Also, Haruna Halidi, member of the NDC, and also aspiring member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central. Good luck to you as we go into elections, and also good luck to you today. And yeah, have a great weekend.